You can do powerlifters. What are some pitfalls bodybuilders can get into, just in general, by the looks of it? Do you have anything?
Being way too specific, way too much. It's number one.
For powerlifting?
Yeah, just strength.
So just get burrowed into just the pursuit of the...
Yeah, seeing people like doing comp lifts 3 weeks after their comp. Like, well, how come? Why do you do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're good at the thing already. It's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything else that comes to your head? Like when they just pursue the sport, like you just find that...
That's the biggest one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I've there's a few in bodybuilding. I think obviously I think training too often with too high volume is a pitfall that people can get into.
Yeah.
I think you get into it very quickly because you're just like more, or even just like the idea of more is better.
Yeah.
The more trained you get, it's arguably like, you have to consider if you do want to train more often how your workouts go.
Yeah.
How many sets you do, probably lower in terms of sets, maybe higher, like a larger split within that session, like more distribution across muscle groups rather than just one muscle. So yeah, like just that more is better kind of thing that people get into. Out training a bad diet, absolutely. There's a lot of people.
Yeah,
a lot of people have that mindset that you can out train a bad diet. I know in the off season there's a total disregard, and it's hard when you're heavier just to like take the cardiovascular work out. And you can sit there if you're a moron and tell people that doing cardio is not going to make you bigger and stronger, which I just disagree with.
Yeah.
Even though, and that's talking about that specificity again. It's not looking at things drawn out.
Yeah.
So it's like,
why would you want to be fit and healthy and
absolutely, and then everything else like gets better as well, and you just have more runway, to be honest, to like be in the growth phase for as long as possible, and then transitioning to your fat loss phase, like you're already moving and you've got the habits, so amplifying those if you need to is there.
So speaking of shoulders and stuff, I've taken my steps from like 6,000 to, I went through a phase that like LJ was like raving every night, so I was like throwing him around. So my steps looked elite, but they weren't. To a genuine 10,000 steps this week.
Yeah,
my shoulder doesn't hurt, my hip doesn't hurt. It's like, it's the
that
best fucking rehab.
Thing. More
best
you move,
prehab, bro.
Oh, absolutely. There's another question I wanted to address that. And I read some stuff today, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Not mind blowing, but just like, reinforcement.
Yeah. But I guess to piggyback off what you said, with the like being too specific too often thing with powerlifters, they should train for hypertrophy more. They should train the specific less, the lifts less, because there is heaps of carryover that.
Yeah, you don't lose the skill that badly. Yeah.
If you're a newbie, sure, you can kind of progress it. We had the reel come out during the week of like not doing any of the competition lifts. But for me, it's like more than 5 is dumb, and even then I'm like, the 5 is like we're reintroducing them. It's not
5 as in
like 5 reps.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like that is one, and then the other one when you mentioned the food is like slap me in the face because I just think about my clients. They all behave pretty well.
Yeah.
But as a whole, like people pursuing strength goals, forget about the 22 hours they're not in the gym.
Yeah.
So much. Just like I only think about the training, what I do when I'm there, and like my squat tech and blah, 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 blah. It's like, I'm like, got to do fucking 17 minutes of rehab for my back. It's like, okay, how's your sleep, hydration, nutrition? What do you mean? It's like, okay. Yeah. So that's really common. Yeah. Just to not behave.
Absolutely.
Like an athlete.
The last one I had, which obviously is really niche and is an over-reliance on using performance-enhancing drugs to supplement the work that they're not willing to do.
Yeah.
And that's like holes in your nutrition, holes in how you train, how frequent, the effort, all of those things. Like, and even the mindset of like, I can't make progress unless I'm using heaps. It's like, if you actually want to give yourself longevity in the game and you want to take that pursuit, and that's your choice and no one's telling you otherwise, you want to use as little as possible.
Yeah.
It's like you're burning the candle off the other side, man. And like, there's so many like, ramifications to your decisions. So you obviously want to go with like less is more, use as little as possible. Yes, there's, that's contextual. If you do stick to your diet, train hard, do all of the things that you need to do in absence of that to maximize the stimulus, then you adding those things in just amplifies all of it. That's what I always talk about. It should enhance an already good approach. It shouldn't fill holes.
Yeah.
It's not a performance filling, hole filling drug. It's a performance enhancing one.
Yeah.
So, and then it's like, if you want to use a little bit and maximize everything out of it, that is the best way, rather than like, I've got to take more because I'm not willing to show up everywhere else. Yeah. And it's like that. You can do that. You can absolutely do that. But the cost of that is just
very high.
Yeah, very, very high. Yep. And I wouldn't want to live with that, especially with longevity and shit. Like, you want to be in the sport for ages, like just use that mindset.
Yep.
Yeah. And then just that idea of just like, oh, I'm bridging, I can't make any gains, I'm weak, and this. It's like, you're just a fucking pussy, man. Like, honestly, like,
like, if you get it all right, you can still make
you're just
progress.
a pussy, bro. Like, you just need to work hard. Like, and you just need to, if you look in those areas and have that kind of solid foundation, then the only thing that comes out is a little bit of gear.
Yeah.
And everything else is good, so you can still show up.
Yeah.
You just change the variables.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just finding that so much now.
And you recover better in between and all of that shit too, if everything else is right. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just finding it so much now. Obviously,
people
like,
that come off that
people
are like, fuck, so just everything's terrible. It's like, it's because everything's terrible.
Yeah, and it's like, you don't have the
support.
Yeah, you don't have the
nutrition
ability
sucks,
to patch the holes, bro.
The cardiovascular health sucks.
Yeah.
The only thing that was good was the pumps.
Yeah, you're just getting piggybacked off a super physiological state. Yeah. But once you take that out, it's like the problem's still there, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm finding that a lot. Yeah, and obviously, people see the effects of like other people, but don't actually realize that it's a sum of everything. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you know, the pharmacology works, man. They're designed to do that job, right?
Yeah.
So anyone can go and just use some stuff and get away with it.
Yeah.
But they don't see, like, they look at their, said person and they go, right, well, they only look at one element. So it's like, oh, it's just the supplementation. It's not the fact that, like, they forward think their nutrition, they plan their workouts, they work hard, they, track their progress, they make decisions that align with their goals. It's just the drugs.
Yeah.
It's like, cool, bro. Think like that, and you'll either kill yourself or you just won't make good progress, or you just yo-yo in terms of like your approach. Like, you only train hard when you're on.
Yeah, and you only yes. Yeah, fuck. Only train when you're on. Sometimes.
Oh, bro, absolutely.
Happens a lot,
I know that. Like, that's the litmus test sometimes for like some of the people. It's like they put the work in and then they do that. Like, they do the course, and then after that, I'm like, if they don't go to the gym, I'm like, nah, this doesn't mean enough for you.
Yeah,
because it shows.
Yeah,
like you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I could talk about that forever, but it's not the podcast for it. Sign up to the Patreon. or book a consult with me.